So it's been a few months since I last did my What's in My Wallet video, and I'm excited to share this one because it's really great for anyone who's just starting on their credit card journey. I've had my US social for now, I think it's been under 6 months, so this is a great video to see if you have a fresh credit score where you're starting from scratch, what does that kind of look like and what are your options out there in terms of what cards can you get. And I'll share what cards I've gotten, why I've gotten them, and what my goals and plans are for those cards. So the first one is the Chase Freedom Unlimited card. This one it's a pretty basic card. It's got some perks to it. One, there's no annual fee. You get 3% back on dining, 3% back on drugstores, and 5% back on travel booked through the Chase travel portal. And then you get 1.5% on everything else. Now, what a lot of people will do is have this as their catch-all card. So if you're a heavy user of credit card hacking, you might have like the Platinum card and a Gold card and the Venture X card for different purposes, but maybe those end up only giving you 1x on all your other purchases, versus the Chase Freedom gives you 1.5. So it's much better to get that 1.5 instead of the 1x that most credit cards will give you. So this is actually a great card, not only for beginners, but also as you get into more advanced credit cards. I think this is a great catch-all for everyone, and I've seen it in almost every wallet, so it's great. And so one of the reasons I got the Chase Unlimited card was, again, because one, that did have that 0 annual fee, which is something that I'm looking for right now. It's also with Chase, and that's where I bank with, so it was easier to get approved for. And then my long-term goals are to really build up the credit limit on this card. Chase is known to give much higher credit limits than other credit cards, so that is something that's important to me, and it helps in the long run with building credit score because you can keep your utilization lower, and that helps improve your credit score. So that's one of the reasons I got this card, and it's not unreasonable to see like $20,000 or $50,000 credit limits on these cards. So that is the plan with the Chase Freedom Unlimited. All right, the next one that I have in my wallet right now is the Capital One Platinum card. Now don't let the name fool you. This isn't like the equivalent of the American Express Platinum. The Capital One Platinum is like their bare bones entry-level credit building card. So don't let that name fool you. So again, this one was a no annual fee credit card, and the goal, even when you apply, is to build credit, and so that's the reason that I got it. In terms of actual benefits, it's bare bones. You've got your basic credit card alerts. It'll tell you what your balance is. You can balance transfer out of it if you want. You can set up auto pay, fraud protection. That's pretty much it. There's no cashback. There's no travel rewards. The goal with this card is, one, to build that credit, so having age of accounts really being there, and then also over time building up that credit limit on this card. Capital One doesn't have the high limits like Chase or American Express, but over time the goal is to keep building it up, and they do have automatic considerations for credit limit increases at 6 months, so that's really beneficial. So if every 6 months I can keep increasing it, I think that'll really help my credit score in the long run. Okay, the next one that I got is the Capital One Venture One card. Now this is the entry-level beginner version of their more famous Venture X card. Now, the reason that I got this card was, again, to build up that credit history while also being able to collect some reward points along the way. So this one was bare bones. It's got no annual fee. You've got some insurance benefits like extended warranty, you get car rental insurance coverage, and then in terms of the actual points that you collect, it's 1.25 points per dollar spent. And the best part, which I really like about this card, is how easy it is to transfer to other rewards programs. So you can transfer it to Aeroplan, so that's something that's really important to me given how many Aeroplan points I already have, and they have a great program. So I think the ability to collect 1.25 points and then transfer them to other programs, I think, is super beneficial, and being able to do that with a no annual fee card, I think, is a huge plus. So I think it's a fairly underrated card, one that I would highly recommend if you are with Capital One and you're just starting to build out your credit. I think this is a great card while still being able to take advantage of travel reward points. So while we're talking about Capital One, there's usually like 3 families of credit card rewards. It's like you've got Capital One, you've got Chase, and then you've got American Express. Now, depending on which kind of group you go with, they'll have different pros and cons. And while there are like those 3 buckets of credit card options, I don't think you need to go for all 3. I think that just overcomplicates things, and I don't think you're going to get the benefit of being in each of those groups. I think you really want to focus on just 1 or 2. If you want me to do a more detailed video of the 3 different groups and the pros and cons and which one you should go for, let me know in the comments below. But while we're on the topic here, so while I did get the Venture 1 card, I really don't think that I would get the Venture X card down the road. I'm not the biggest fan of Capital One. They're not my favorite travel program. I think they're confusing. They have like so many different credit cards, which I think just overcomplicates things. And especially with travel hacking, you want to keep it as simple as possible. For example, Venture 1 card, they have like 3 different versions of it, and then you've got the Venture X as well. Versus with American Express, it's so much easier. It's like you've got the green card, the gold card, and the platinum card. It's much easier. And based on research and my experience with American Express, with Chase and Capital One is the least consumer friendly. It's a lot more difficult to get around, like their website, their app, their application process is a lot more difficult. Their credit limits are generally lower. So the reason that I probably won't go continuing down the path of getting more Capital One credit cards is for that reason. But if you are going after Capital One, keep in mind that they also have a cap of usually 4 to 5 cards per person, so something to keep in mind. But those are the 2 Capital One cards that I have. The goal is to have those as my oldest accounts, keep them for pretty much forever, especially since there's no fees to them, and slowly over time just build up that credit limit to increase so that I have a better credit utilization on my credit score. All right, so we've talked about Chase, we've talked about Capital One, and now it's time to talk about American Express. So the American Express card that I have is the American Express Everyday card. And this one again is a very basic card, but it has some great benefits. It's got 0 annual fee. Because it's American Express, they have generally higher credit limits straight out of the door, which is really nice. And then the Everyday card, it does give you some benefits. You've got 2 times the points on groceries, otherwise it's 1 times on everything else. And then you've got your basic credit card features like fraud protection. It does have car rental insurance protection, which is really nice, but outside of that, it's a basic card, not more that I would expect out of it, especially given that it is a no annual fee card. And again, the purpose of this card is to build up that credit history, build up that credit, that available credit, and over time grow that as well. So that's kind of the approach that I've taken with these cards that I've gotten. There isn't a big emphasis right now on collecting a lot of points, especially because that's not important to me, and I'll have so many other opportunities down the road, even though there are some really nice welcome bonuses right now. I saw an American Express platinum card with 190,000 bonus points after spending, I think it was 15,000 in either 3 months or 6 months. So some really lucrative deals out there right now. So if you're in the market for an American Express Gold card or an American Express Platinum card, I think this is the time to get one. All right, so now on to my most favorite card. This is the American Express Green card, and it's been revamped lately, and so that's why I never really considered it before. But I'm gonna do a more detailed video going into all the benefits, what's changed, why it's so great, and that video will be out shortly. So if it's not up right now, it will be shortly, but otherwise check out one of these videos next.